Welcome to part 2 of this video series called How to Punch Fear in the Face and Overcome Obstacles. And in part 1, we talked about the importance of admitting to ourselves that we could stay right here stuck for the rest of our lives. And the unfortunate reality, the tragic reality, is that many people do. Many people die with their best work left in them. And in order for us to move forward, we have to admit to ourselves, it's a motivating factor, really. It shouldn't depress us, it could. But what I want it to be is a motivating factor that you could stay here, but you don't have to. And so part 2 tags along with that, and it is this, that I want you to examine the fear in your life. I want you to, instead of letting it paralyze you and turn away from it, I want you to begin to look directly in the eyes of that fear, directly at that roadblock. I want you to get close to it. I want you to begin to look at it and examine, what is it really saying? Because oftentimes we see a roadblock and we just want to turn away. Or something that we're afraid of comes up and we just, our first instinct is to run. But it's important that we actually see it, see fear and frustration and roadblocks, obstacles, hurdles, whatever you want to call them. I want you to change your mentality for them, and I want you to begin to see them as a flag waving in the direction that you need to go. I want you to begin to see them as a red light blinking saying, hey, come here, come this way. And if you can begin to see your fear in that way, you can begin to look at it and examine it with a different mentality, because it is pointing you, most often it is pointing you in the direction that you need to go. That roadblock is there for a reason. That roadblock is there to show you the way. And I think this has been such a powerful practice in my own life, because when I was younger as a leader, I would look at roadblocks and I would get frustrated and I'd get beat down, or someone would hold their hand up and say, wait, not yet. I need you to do this first or learn this first. And I would get upset or offended or take it personally. But as I began to change my mentality about it and began to look at that as an indicator of the direction I needed to go, it changed my whole paradigm. It changed the way that I looked at obstacles. I instead of looking at them negatively, I began to look at them positively. And I began to be motivated to take action instead of squashed to be paralyzed in fear and to run away. I began to be motivated to investigate it. And it's kind of like walking in the woods on a dark night. And I'm out here in the woods behind my house. And sometimes when you're walking in the woods, at night you hear noises and you jump, or you hear the cracking of a branch, like somebody's walking towards you, or you see a shadowy figure and it makes you afraid. But when the morning light comes, you realize that those things were just the wind blowing and whistling, or they were just leaves falling and sticks cracking, falling from trees, or those shadows were just a dead tree in the distance. And when you investigate, when you take time to investigate instead of running away, you begin to learn that those fears begin to fall apart, that they are not grounded in a solid reality. So I encourage you today, I actually implore you today, I want you to dig into your fear. I want you to look at it in the eyes, and I want you to begin to take it apart piece by piece. What is it that you're really afraid of? And is your fear fabricating the roadblock? Because sometimes when we're afraid, the fear inside of us says, well, that's too hard, or I can't do that. Or, we tend to blame our bosses and we say, well, I'm frustrated with my boss. He's just a roadblock to me. But maybe you're just afraid to have an honest conversation with that person. And that's real, guys. Because that person, oftentimes the person is not the roadblock. It's something inside of you. It's something that is a fear inside of you that you are giving into. Don't give into the fear. Punch it in the face. All right? Punch it in the face by first examining your opponent. When you're a boxer, you examine your opponent, you learn their ways, and you learn what they do and their body movements and how they telegraph certain moves. And that's how you need to look at fear. Fear is that opponent you need to study. So here's the deal. If you want to take action on this, I want you to be a part of the University of Influence 101. It's a course called How to Cultivate Confidence. And this is the linchpin, the piece that you have been missing. This course is going to be a small group coaching intensive, and it starts next week. Registration closes in 4 days. I want you to be a part. You can go to the universityofinfluence.net, universityofinfluence.net, and find out more info about it. I want you in on it. Let's do this. Let's not let this be the place where you live any longer. Let's get past these roadblocks, break them apart, and live the life that you were made to live.